Welcome back, everybody, to the KKers Avalanche podcast. It's me and Blake back with another epi. Today, we're just going to be doing a bit of overreactions for the first 2 or 3 games league-wide. We're on a little bit of a break today because the NHL decided to schedule 0 games today because they're that terrified of the NFL. And some new news with the Ian Cole stuff. But first, we want to talk a little bit more about the Avs. Blake wanted to touch on their depth. One new thing that we believe could be happening, Jacob McDonald is making the trip with the team to Minnesota. Blake believes that means he'll be on the 4th line. I feel like that's not a terrible assumption.
Yeah, I think he'll be there. Yeah, I don't think Sedlak's been good enough. So
yeah, and also Anton Bleed got sent down on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, other than McDonald, I really have no notes on sort of what the lineup's going to look like. But I did want to touch on just the overall forward depth, and I'm just a little worried. I touched on it on the post-game pod the other day.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fine, but I'm just a little worried, man. They've got a ton of guys playing in over their heads, it feels like. And obviously with Newhook, I think it'll get better. With Erod, I don't, because he's 29 and he's shown before that he's, a hard middle sixer. And the second half of his season last year was really bad. So
yeah, but he also I feel like once Newhook gets better, I think that's when Erod's going to start to get better, because we saw it. As long as he's playing with talent, he does well, which is why he struggled at the end of last year. He was on their third occasion, third line in Pittsburgh. I don't know. I think it's early. I think I understand here Logan O'Connor's mostly played a 4th line role. And I think, here he's best as a 4th line player. I don't think he should be a 3rd line player. I think it's important to remember that he probably is on a lot of teams' 3rd line. So I don't think that's as big an issue. Probably. I don't know. He's got it really kind of depends, but I feel like off the top of my head, he's a good enough 3rd liner to get you by.
He's passable there. That's fine. You're just not going to get a ton of offense out of that 3rd line, especially when JT Compher's been a complete and total no-show. He hasn't.
Yeah, but here's something that you got to remember with JT Compher is he was injured, so these are his first skates in weeks.
He skated for a good week before.
Yeah, but in non-contact, so it's a little, He also didn't get any preseason games.
I mean, just think back to last year, right? The first 10 games of the season, the 4-5-1. One of the only reasons the Avs were 4-5-1 and not worse was JT Compher, because he scored all of his goals in the first 10 games last year. It was crazy. Only one 5v5 goal because he's allergic to those. But still, it's been disappointing.
I think with the one game being the first game and the next game being what we know it was, is the weird scheduling kind of.
Yeah, totally. The schedule.
I feel like it's, it's. I guess I understand why it's an overreaction, but I also feel like.
Oh yeah, it's a total overreaction. I mean, all of today's show is an overreaction, right, basically. But I still just am a little concerned. I want to see it for 10 games, obviously, before, jumping to a conclusion of it's good, it's okay, or it's bad. I think, but so far it's been bad through 2 games. Just the forward depth in general.
Not great. Definitely not great, Bob. Is there anything else really to touch on? With the forward depth or the Avs, or?
We can go to the Eagles really quick.
Oh, right, the Eagles. So Blake refuses to watch Eagles games, but I
couldn't watch the first one. I know AHL TV was free for the first one, but I couldn't watch it. But I'll catch a few here and there.
Yeah. But the first game, a lot of good showings from the kind of call up guys on the Eagles. Martin Kaut had 2 goals and I believe an assist.
Mm-hmm.
Those goals were just him ripping the puck, and he was
Yeah.
the line of him, Bowers, and Megna really stood out. And I think that being their first line is a good sign for Kaut and Bowers, because typically last year they got a little bit bigger of a role with the Eagles, but I know in years past they often are kind of bottom sixers.
Mm-hmm.
They give those spots to AHL vets, especially Bowers. Bowers has been a lower
Mm-hmm.
lineup guy, so it's good to see him climbing in the lineup and performing well. He had a few assists, and then Charles Hudon also had 2 goals. The line of him,
I'm
John
excited about.
What?
You just said his name, JLF, dude.
Oh yeah,
Man, that kid's a player. I'm so excited.
He can
for him.
move. It's
Plays
especially
Avs hockey.
considering that he's already in the AHL and he's like 20. That's ridiculous.
I think he just turned 20.
Yeah.
And this is his 3rd year down there because of the exemption, the COVID exemption. And he got better from year 1 to year 2. And it already looks like he's taking another jump. And it's just his playmaking is already at an NHL level, and his feet. I think the D zone is obviously something they're working on with him.
Right. It's
but like he's going to be an Av, like if not next year.
I feel pretty confident about that.
Yeah, I think he's an NHL player.
Yeah,
I think they got a guy there.
So he was pretty good. Hudon was good. Mikhail Maltsev had a really nice assist on. Was it Foodie's? Did Foodie have a goal, or was it Hudon's goal? I don't remember.
I think Foodie had 2 assists.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It was. I don't remember. But yeah, so those top 6 guys all performed pretty well. I thought Sampo Ranta had some nice flashes where he was pushing offense. He was on a line with Oscar Olausson, and I think it was Smallman. And it's widely considered that Smallman was pretty awful in both games. Just not very impactful. I think Olausson was not great, but he was just quiet. And
you're gonna get those games with a guy like Olausson.
Yeah, definitely. It's very Andre Burakovsky-esque. And he'll play. No, all Avs fans know how he would take some games where just nothing happens.
Right. It's not like he's taking a game off. It's just puck doesn't find him. He's not going to do much. So.
Right.
So. But yeah, I would, dude. Like you've got to like give Martin Kaut a chance at this point.
You do. It's really frustrating that they didn't give him a chance out of camp. And it'll be even more frustrating if for some reason they don't give him a chance after. Like, he has to continue his play a little bit, but also, like, I feel like you need to, like, give this kid the benefit of the doubt a little bit, He's showing what he needs to show.
Yeah.
Especially last year, I feel it just went under the radar how the season Martin Kaut had in the NHL last year. He was actually producing, like, oh God,
it was like words. It was like 0.75 points per game.
Yeah, he was like a consistent
little better.
Producer. I think he had like 31 points in 46 games, 19 goals.
Yeah, but it was much better towards the end of the season. I think he started slow.
Yeah. He did.
Where he was nearly touching point per game. So, like, dude.
I mean, 19 goals in 46 games. That's
cut the Lucas Sedlak crap, man. Like,
yeah. We'll see how that goes with the 4th line, who comes in and who comes out.
Yeah, I think Sedlak is going to stay.
Changes.
The more I think about it, yeah, because he's a center.
Yeah. See, this is the problem. they but they've been Myers at center.
They could put Ben Myers at center. That's true, but they haven't shown the
That's
willingness to
where he
do
has
that.
been playing. That's
He's
where he's been
been
playing.
he's been
I thought
on
he was at center.
Sedlak's wing, and I found it so weird.
Oh,
That's just kind of how they've listed it.
yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. He could play center. I forgot about him. So maybe Sedlak is out. I hope.
Yeah.
I think a fourth line of Myers, McDermott, McDonald is like solid. I mean, Myers and McDonald especially, like they can push the play a little bit, and the McDermott, I don't know, he's just kind of there. So
I'm back.
we lost.
So yeah. Let's move on to something new here. A few more news things happened over the weekend. The first being the Capitals signed Sonny Milano to a league minimum deal. A guy that some Avs fans were hoping they could get. I mean, for that price tag, why wouldn't you? It's an interesting deal. The Capitals have been making some decent moves this offseason. This is probably, like the most they've done in an offseason, I think, in a long time.
They're okay.
Every year I feel like they just kind of like stand pat, but we'll see
Yeah,
how it
they're
actually
okay.
works out. I mean,
I think the Sonny Milano thing, like
they're big upside moves on both
right.
of the forwards they signed.
Him and Strome too, yeah.
Yeah. I keep
and
forgetting they signed the not as good Strome.
Dude, I think he's better than Ryan Strome.
Yeah, he probably will be, but he hasn't shown it consistently enough.
Well, he's a 50, 60 point guy, and Ryan Strome is the same thing, except Ryan Strome is just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of Ryan Strome personally. But
Dylan's definitely more attractive.
That must be why. Yeah, I think the Sonny Milano thing for Washington is good. I know Avs fans wanted Sonny Milano, but like, I think there's some history there in Columbus, obviously with CMAC.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's why they didn't want to take a shot on him. I know he got into something with AJ Greer at a bar when he was with the Blue Jackets.
Really?
It was strange. Yeah. So I just think there's some history there.
So. He played under Bednar and Erie, right?
Yes. So okay. Bednar and
yeah.
CMAC was the assistant GM, I think, for them.
Probably. Yeah.
So yeah, there's some history there, and I'm pretty sure that's why he wasn't signed. Obviously, you never know. Maybe they just don't like him as a hockey player, but
yeah, and a Stanley Cup contending team can't really take on like too many reclamation projects.
Right. So, but yeah, that's a low risk, potentially high reward move for
the
Washington.
Caps.
Yeah. Sounds like he's going to Hershey too, which is interesting to start.
Yeah, it's a little weird
in the AHL. Yeah, not sure, but
we'll see how that plays out. But the other big news, Ian Cole, the NHL concluded their investigation and found no evidence to support the anonymous Twitter user's claims. They attempted to reach out to them. They talked to Ian Cole and other people. Now, a lot of people are criticizing how short this investigation was, and like if you're the NHL, I don't know how you can make this much longer. I think people need to realize the NHL doesn't have the authority to like do a huge, like big scale investigation, especially when your main witness, victim won't communicate.
I found it a little gross how they were just like, please DM us. It kind of felt like, is this the only way?
Yeah. So I'm curious. That was a day before they said they concluded it. I wonder if they tried to give them different, if they like try to communicate with them through different, and they throw out a last ditch tweet to be like, okay, please DM us, do anything, talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they tried other ways, but still, it just was like, is this the look you guys are going for? Like,
yeah,
I don't. There's something still off about it, I think.
Yeah, it's
like, why wouldn't the person? Why wouldn't? Or why couldn't they get a hold of her? You know, like what's going on?
Yeah,
So
it feels very weird. It's hard to really say because like there's no evidence right now, so by law you're innocent until proven guilty.
right.
But it just feels so like I can't take a stance on whether or not I believe it's if it's true or not. I feel like I'm leaning more towards the side of true just because I don't know why someone would just make all this crap up.
Right. Yeah.
But you
Um,
never know, I guess.
yeah, I mean, obviously, like you believe. I mean, false accusations are very rare,
Right.
and so like I tend to side with you know the victim. But like, if they can't even get a hold of her, like, how are we ever gonna know?
Right.
So
Yeah. It's
something
it's a
strange about it.
tough thing for the NHL. I think me and Blake both agree that it should be. This is kind of up to the police at this point. It's kind of their job to investigate this.
Yeah.
It's it's a criminal accusation. So
Right.
the police don't take it seriously.
Right.
That's kind of their fault.
Yeah. I I still just like it sucks that they weren't able to get a hold of her, and it sucks
Yeah.
that there's no evidence. They can't find any evidence right now because I mean I'm like I'm sure that he's a creep. Like it's just the amount of detail that she went into on that
Right.
tweet was like, dude, like nobody makes this shit up. But still, like we won't know.
Yep.
So
We won't know until we know. So,
yeah,
which maybe never. Maybe.
yeah.
But yeah. So let's get into some more league wide conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Blake have a few teams we want to just talk about, maybe overreact to a little bit,
Mm-hmm. I want to start
as
with a
is
question.
the case.
I've got a
Yes.
question for you, Ed. Is Marc-Andre Fleury cooked?
Dude, he's been cooked for years. I'm sorry. Like, he was cooked last year. Everybody just kind of talked themselves into thinking he wasn't because he played for a bad team.
You know what was funny last year? I know Chicago is bad, but they put up like under the radar surprisingly good defensive results. Like they didn't give
Yeah,
up a
Seth.
ton.
I mean, Seth Jones put up good numbers last year defensively for them.
Yeah,
And I mean, they have, they had who do they had good defensemen last year.
right. And well, I mean, not great, but like they had some
Right.
guys and
You know,
they
they're all
they
pretty solid
suppressed
defensemen.
they suppressed shots like pretty well. Um, and Flurry was the reason that they gave up so many goals. It wasn't the team in front of them. I'm looking right now. Let's see. So 2021, 22 Chicago Blackhawks.
I mean, Calvin
Yeah,
DeHaan, Eric
they were
Gustafson,
they
Jake
were
McCabe,
they were
Connor
1%
Murphy.
better than league average at
These are
shot suppression.
solid defensemen.
They were okay, and their PK wasn't even that bad either. Um, it was the goaltending. They gave up about 15 goals more than they were expected to give up.
Yeah.
And, their offense was, basically failed to generate anything at all last year. But it was, the
Right.
reason that they gave up so many goals was Marc-Andre Fleury and Kevin Lankinen. So,
Right. And then they came in, then obviously the Wild traded for him.
yeah.
He had some stuff kind of change a little bit. And then he
It
ended the
was okay.
playoffs.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of bad. Like, I feel like people, especially in the Avs community, have touched on this a lot. People forget Marc-Andre Fleury is not that good of a playoff goaltender.
He's not.
He's had 2 runs in his career,
Right.
and then the rest has just been kind of meh. He literally gave up
He lost
5
his job to
goals.
Matt Murray.
Yeah, he lost his job to Matt Murray and Robin Lehner one year.
Yeah.
3 games in a row against St. Louis. He let in. I mean, I don't know if these are empty netters, but St. Louis scored 5 goals. I think some of them were empty netters. Either way, let me see. Nope, that's not an empty netter.
So
Got a box.
Fleury in Minnesota was exactly average, just
Perfectly average.
the average goaltender. Yeah,
Which
30
is
goals on 29.8 expected goals. So
literally what they could have gotten from
exactly average.
Cam Talbot.
Yeah, I mean Cam Talbot last year wasn't great. He was not good. He gave up 9 more goals than he was expected to give up. But still, like, he had a bigger sample size, and like they basically didn't do anything. Like, it didn't matter who they were starting. So
Right, and then they pulled Fleury for Cam Talbot for
Yeah.
game 6. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
They didn't even feel comfortable with the guy they traded for, and then they re-signed him.
Yeah.
Super
It
odd.
was really odd. I'm looking up. So Fleury on Mini last year was exactly average, and on Chicago, wouldn't you know it, exactly average. So
There you go.
he was just okay last year.
Literally
And
today.
He looks terrible this year. So
this weekend, the Vikings defense gave up the exact same number of touchdowns as the Wild.
Yeah. And the thing that Zuccarello said, where he was like, we're defending like an AHL team or whatever he said. Like, I'm checking right now. I don't think that's even true. Like,
It's probably not.
No, their defense is minus 23, which is really good. And there's a giant purple bubble in front of their net, which shows that they're literally giving up nothing.
Oh, okay.
Pucks are just entering their net. That's how
Their
she
goalie
goes.
just kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm. So I think Minnesota's got a big problem if Fleury is bad, because your backup is Philip Gustafson.
Yeah, I mean, there's a plus side for the Wild that Matt Boldy is absolutely gross at hockey.
It's not going to matter.
I mean, it's true, but like,
and
I want to give this kid his respect because I feel bad.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah.
He scored 2 of the nicest goals.
Yeah.
But they meant nothing because his team got a touchdown dropped on him.
Right. Well, the thing is did you see how much Marco Rossi played against the Kings?
4 minutes. Yeah.
Not even. It was 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Jesus.
That's like less than Curtis McDermott. I think you tweeted it out or something.
I did tweet that out.
Yeah.
I said if you're getting less minutes than Curtis McDermott, something ain't going right.
I don't get it either, because that's the key to their success this year.
Right.
Is that
they need Boldy and Rossi to be good. And if you're not going to play one of them, you're not going to be very good.
Right.
I wonder if Evison doesn't understand that Ryan Hartman isn't a 30-goal scorer or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, it was last year. Never again.
Never again.
Man.
We'll see. Obviously, I don't want to talk too much shit before they play the Avs.
I mean, I love their defense.
We're just asking for it to get.
I mean, like Fleury can't be this bad for, the whole season. He can't be like
the thing with Fleury though. The question is that he's old enough that this could just be him falling off the cliff, and this could be the end.
Well, I think that's what it is, but I also just don't think he's going to give up a touchdown every night.
Well, right, but he, he might not be. He might be Philip Grubauer bad.
Right. Yeah, that's the bar. Yeah. So
but we'll
see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Wild, not great. Everybody expected them to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You know who people didn't expect to be good? The Philadelphia Flyers. They're 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Now they beat the Devils and the Canucks. Yeah. Now people were high on the Canucks coming into they were actually high on both of these teams.
Yeah. So
they're both pretty young teams.
Two just okay teams.
Yeah.
So
but Philadelphia, I mean,
still, man, Torts hasn't played the right way. I watched some of that game yesterday, it was good hockey from them. They got
Yeah,
down
they
2-0
weren't like
and they just put their work boots on.
yeah.
They through 2 games, they're like their fancies are just like be shit through 2 games.
There's
Oh, never mind.
no,
No,
not
they're getting
good.
caved in. Yeah.
That's why the eye test ain't always reliable.
Yeah. I was
Sometimes the
thinking of a
fancies
different
ain't
team.
always reliable.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different
Maybe
team.
maybe they just really turtle hard in the third. I'm not sure, but they have had a lead going into both third periods. So
Did they have the lead going into yesterday's, or did they score in the third to make it 3-2? I don't remember.
believe they scored like right at the end of the second. I think I watched it.
Okay.
But I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is this team is very. We can expect this team to regress a lot. I don't
Yeah.
know how Carter Hart's been doing. I know people weren't a fan of like the goals. I don't know. A lot of the stuff I get is people saying like everybody's
Yeah.
trash, and it's like okay, all right.
Hart gave up a couple softies yesterday, but it's
Yeah, but ended with 28 saves
yeah.
and 35 saves in the first game.
Yeah. He's so he's got like 3 goals saved above expected, and they've scored 3 more than expected. So that's why they're 2-0. So small sample size, but I think they're
I wouldn't put it against Hart to continue a similar-ish pace if he finally found his rhythm again.
Right.
But I wouldn't expect their offense to be scoring that much ahead of.
I think their issue is like they cannot afford to. I mean, obviously, they want to win this year because Chuck Fletcher is Chuck Fletcher. I don't know.
Yeah, always got to win.
Rebuilding, always got to win, right? But
ABC
the
always
worst case scenario for them would be to stumble into 75 points.
Right.
And then you're
just gonna get
7th or 8th in the lottery, right? Because there's so many awful teams this year, and you don't get Bedard or one of those top guys, right? So I think this is the worst case scenario for them because I really do think they're going to stumble into like 75, 80 points.
It seems like such a Philadelphia thing to do. This team has enough talent that I feel like they could.
Oh yeah,
they'll win more games than they should, but they're bad enough that it's not going to mean anything.
Right. So
and obviously Torch is a good enough coach that he could,
exactly. He gets the best out of guys.
Right.
Obviously, who want to play for him. There's an expiry date there, as we saw in Columbus.
Right.
And basically every team he's coached, you get to the 3-4 year mark. All of a sudden, your guys don't really buy into Torts anymore.
Yeah.
But like right away, definitely, I think they will.
This seems like a better hire for like maybe after the rebuild, but I'm not sure. We'll see. They're definitely just their defense also really not good. They have Ivan Provorov and Travis Sanheim, and then the rest of it is a bunch of guys who just can't play defense.
D'Angelo, yeah. I mean, the only 2 dudes who can defend back there are Sanheim and Justin Braun. All the other guys, I mean,
future Av Justin Braun.
Not a lot of defense being played, so.
Right.
Future Av Justin Braun. I wouldn't mind it.
Him and Nick Bonino.
No. Nick Bonino is just it just is too perfect. I can't believe you pulled that out of your ass. Oh, man. It's too perfect.
We're gonna count down the days till whatever the trade deadline is. Wait for that Nick Bonino for a 5th rounder.
Yeah. I don't think the Avs would go after Braun. He can't skate. So
probably not. But that was one thing that worked well with Jack Johnson. That he's not like an amazing skater, but he can skate with like enough.
He was Jack Johnson. He's just special.
He was Jack Johnson. I love Jack Johnson. I miss Jack Johnson. All right, so where do you want to overreact next?
Let's go to Toronto.
Toronto.
They've got some news. Matt Murray LTIR, adductor surgery.
Yeah.
Not super shocking given his career, and this
Yeah,
is just par for the course.
I feel like that was something people kind of swept under the rug, was he gets injured
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's a fine goalie when he's not injured, but the problem is he's injured a lot, and sometimes he's not a fine goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he's bad.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the worst case scenario so far for Toronto. They recalled Eric Kjellgren.
Yeah. And
I'm
he's
not sure how that worked. But
I think he's like better than Samson. Like, I don't think Samsonov's any good.
right.
I mean, he played behind a Caps defense last year. That was really good
And he's still
at suppressing shots, and he still just threw up like a high 800 save percentage.
And then didn't he get replaced by Vanacek in that?
Well, they both sucked last year, so like
Right.
it didn't matter.
Which is
really.
kind of who sucked the least.
Right.
Instead of who's hot, it's who's
who's sucking the least. Yeah. That was basically it. So I don't know if I buy him as a long-term guy here.
I don't.
So I think Kallgren's going to be important for them because when he was up last year, he was really good. So
I remember him putting up good numbers. We'll see if he can continue that. He is, not as experienced of a guy, so
yeah, I think he's still eligible for Calder, which is
really
like one of the sneaky picks that
So is Michael Bunting. So there you go, 2 Calder candidates.
Not anymore.
Nah. He's definitely still. There's no way he's not.
Oh, Michael Bunting's just like always eligible for it. I get it.
Yeah, just like Alex Nedeljkovic.
And Kaprizov. Yeah.
They're
all eligible for it. Mm-hmm. They're like older than Nathan McKinnon and still eligible for it,
Yeah, they'll be in the last year of their career,
Mm-hmm.
Fourth liners.
Eligible for Calder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, Toronto's an interesting team. Obviously, they choked away their first game to the Canadiens. They do have 2 wins since. They almost blew it to the Caps, but they did bring that back, and then they beat the Senators. So
yeah, no notes really like on their team as a whole. It's basically
it's usually just goalies, which was pretty much how it is coming into this season. So
speaking of goalie, dude, Jack Campbell looking really
good.
Mm-hmm.
Watched that game last night. That was it happened.
It was a fun game. I enjoyed it.
It was good. I watched the first period, which is when everything happened, and then Calgary
Calgary let them back in, but like they still outplayed them.
Yeah, they outplayed them, but they just gave them too many opportunities. And Ryan Murray is an elite offensive defenseman, apparently.
That was such a nice assist, dude. And then McLeod with the finish, far post, just beautiful.
Nazem Kadri got his first as an Oiler, or as a Flame. That was pretty nice.
Yeah,
his goal was definitely.
Man, the Oilers they get clamped the whole game, and then just out of the blue, they make it like a tic-tac-toe pass. It's just in your
right.
Like,
I mean, that's the Oilers' game,
Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Calgary I thought did a really good job in the third period.
Yeah. And they had Vladar in that. So.
Yeah, they had Vladar.
Oh, so now Calgary's back to scaring you? Are they bad or are they scary? Pick one.
I don't know. Like, they look bad sometimes, and then they look really good other times. And it's like, what are you?
Yeah, I feel like this is an interesting game to take anything from Calgary, because I feel like you're combining the fact that they want revenge from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Battle of Alberta. Jack Campbell sucked.
Yeah, that's true. They got pretty lucky with those goals going in.
They played well, but we'll see how Jack Campbell fares going forward. Obviously, it's always important to remember with goalies on new teams, it takes a minute, but that's brutal.
Mm-hmm. Stuart Skinner looks really good too.
Yeah, he pitched a shutout.
He did.
31 saves.
34. Or was it 31?
34. I don't know. It was one of those.
Something like that.
Either way, 30 saves.
Yeah.
Especially in like barely 2 periods of hockey.
Yeah. He I think he's like second in the league in goals saved above expected already.
Yeah, he's pretty
So
high.
that's fun. It's always 2 games into the season. The fancies are always hilarious to me. The Avs
Yeah,
offense
they're always fun.
minus 32%, which is funny.
Obviously.
And then the defense is -3, which is like
second in the
about,
league with a
about where it sits.
+4 goals saved above expected.
Yeah. And then, well, Colorado's saving has not been good, and the finishing has been great. So same as last year.
I mean, at least according to Money Puck, Georgiev was at +6.69 goals saved above expected.
Yeah, Frankie was the one there.
Frankie's at -2.
The PK, this is funny. The Avs PK has been, has given up, I think, 4 goals.
Yeah.
And their PK defense is like one of the best in the league. It's at -36%, which is funny.
Well, it's because they do a good job defending until they let like the one play go, and it's just
right.
like, what are we doing here?
It's frustrating. The power play is -6, and it's scored a lot of goals. Early season fancies, they make no sense.
Fancy stats, guys. But yeah, now let's come back to the West here. Vegas starting off 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Cotter, he's making a name for himself.
And
obviously, we
Paul Cotter.
We see this with guys from time to time. The guy makes the team. They start off really hot, and then they just kind of fizzle out.
Logan O'Connor.
Well, I mean, hey man, Logan O'Connor does other things well. I don't know what Paul
True.
Cotter does, except for just existing.
He's big.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So they dummied Seattle last night. 1-0 win over Chicago, and
Martin Jones, baby,
over the Kings.
Martin Jones for Seattle.
Yeah, Martin Jones doing what Martin Jones does. They played 3 pretty not good teams, to be quite honest.
I think the Kings are okay.
Yeah, the Kings are good. First game of the season, and like they scored on like a pretty much of a buzzer beater. So
right,
a pretty close game. And then they barely beat Chicago, and then they beat Seattle.
They smoked Chicago that game.
Yeah,
they got Alex Stalocked.
Yeah, Alex Stalock has been showing pretty well for Chicago so far.
Yeah, Chicago's just Chicago, man. Yeah.
It's we obviously all know Chicago and Arizona are going to suck. As it's been the case. Chicago actually won a game.
So yeah, they did.
That's good for them.
Did want to touch on Dallas?
No, dude. I got into this like argument with a guy on Twitter, and he was before the season. He was saying like, "Oh, Dallas is so much better than Nashville. Ottinger's better than Saros."
They could be. I don't know.
And I'm like, look, man. Look, I can understand Dallas might be better than Nashville, but if you're gonna tell me that Jake Ottinger is better than UC Saros,
not yet.
You're stupid. You're stupid. Yeah. And now they've just all been coming back because they won 2 games at the beginning of the season.
I mean, they curb stomped Nashville twice.
They did.
Like boat raced them. Like games weren't anywhere near close.
Yeah, it's not been impressive. But I do think it's important to remember that UC Saros was injured at the end of last year and didn't play for a while. So I think he's trying to find his rhythm as well. But we'll see with Dallas. I mean, their producers are producing. I mean, you're not going to get a 2-goal game for a player each night, though.
That's true. I just think Dallas is good. I just like them.
I can't quite buy Dallas yet.
I think the defense is not the greatest, but I just think Pete DeBoer is a good coach. So
yeah, but Jared Bednar is a good coach, and the Avs still ended up with 48 points one season. So,
well, Jared Bednar can't beat Pete DeBoer in a playoff round either, apparently.
Well, Jared Bednar can win a Stanley Cup, so
it's true. It's true. Just saying, Pete DeBoer is Jared Bednar's kryptonite.
I guess. It's because Peter DeBoer knows how to wind to the refs and get calls.
Yes, he does, but he also just runs just a filthy trap.
Oh,
That's just
dude, that's why I hate Pete DeBoer. Is that you think about
Mhm.
him bitching about calls and then his stupid style of play, and it's just like, and he's got such a punchable face.
It's a trap, but then they're like, you guys can, but then they tell their forward because most coaches who trap like to just dump the puck in, play it safe.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thinking
a
like Rick
defensive
Bowness,
trap
right?
and then
Uh-huh.
offensive.
But
Yeah,
they like pounce on that, and then they're like, yeah, go ahead, go carry it, go vibe, and it's hard to play against, man.
yeah.
So I just think Pete DeBoer is a good coach, and that's why I like Dallas.
That's
They've
fair.
been very good so far.
Any other overreactions? San Jose sucks. That's to be
Mhm.
expected.
JT Miller on the ice for all 8 goals against the Canucks this year.
Oh Jesus, really?
Yeah,
Oh, brutal.
he said it in an interview too. Like he knows, and he like dropped an F bomb. Was like, it's fucking embarrassing.
It's like I suck at defense. All right,
Mm-hmm.
everybody knew
And
this.
yeah, he does. His player card.
He's good at offense, bad at defense.
He doesn't even drive play either. That's why I was like, him and Kadri last year were like, how are you scoring 90 points?
Yeah, Kadri's a little bit different. I think he drives play.
Not like at an amazing rate. Not like
He does it well enough.
it's like 70-ish, 70th percentile in play driving. And then JT Miller was like 50th. Where you're like, dude, how do you score 90 points?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like Nathan McKinnon where it's like,
right. I'm not saying Kadri's like an amazing play driver, but he does it well enough.
He's good. Yeah.
And he's got the skill that it makes sense.
Right.
Geez, I don't know if there's anything else we can really touch on here. I mean,
yeah, nothing really going on today.
Any players that are like
just
really
some football.
kicking ass?
How's your fantasy team doing today?
Oh, my fantasy team. Actually, it's like really confusing. Because like it's not great, but the other guy's also not great. So it's just fine enough. Like Marcus Mariota got 27 points on my bench. That's amazing.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Why do we have two?
My one team's kicking ass, actually.
That's good. 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Hey, that's a bold move.
Not really.
Yes, it is.
Troy Terry looks good again. If we're going to talk about hockey,
Troy Terry's cool. Yeah,
I love talking about Troy Terry.
Troy.
Good. Rasmus Dahlin been showing well so far for Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Good players be good.
Matt Beniers off to a good start. 4 points.
Mm-hmm. Good player.
Ville Husso and Stuart Skinner both have yet to let in a goal.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. I was looking at the Red Wings Devils fancies from last night, and I was like, "Oh, the Red Wings, must have smoked the Devils, right?"
Oh no,
no. It was hilarious. I looked at it and I was like, "Huh?" The Devils had 4.57 expected goals.
Damn.
And scored 2. And then the Red Wings had 1.65 and scored 5.
Yeah, Vitek Vanacek, not really that good of a goalie.
He's not it. No, yeah.
No.
These goalies out of Washington, they just get worse and worse. You had Varley, amazing. Grubauer, fine. Vitek Vanacek and Samsonov.
Braden Holtby was also in there.
Yeah, but he didn't get traded. I mean,
it's true.
I guess he's in Dallas now. I think his career might be over or something.
Yeah, I think he got like injured or something. He's like kind of just.
Yeah.
I think people just think he's done.
After he was good last year. Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually pretty solid. What else? What else was there?
Not much. Pretty quiet start to the season.
Right.
I covered everything I wanted to cover.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else. Thoughts on the electronic ads? I know this has been This is going to be a hot topic for a while. I personally haven't noticed them. You know, obviously there's going to be one glitch and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, look at that. That's awful. But it's like 1 second of a hockey game and it's like, okay.
I mean, I'm like the most boring person on this one. Like, I don't have a take on it. Like, I'm here to watch hockey. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, I don't notice it unless I'm literally like someone brings it to attention and then I'm like, okay.
Right.
And then I'm just like, all right, hockey.
Yeah.
I think people, I don't know. In soccer, they do this a lot. And you know, I know soccer, their boards are a little bit further away and aren't quite as prominent, but I feel like it's noticeable enough that I feel like maybe I've just kind of been trained to it. I don't know. I feel like sometimes people pay attention to it because they want to like notice it. It's their own doing rather than, you know, just focusing on hockey. And then
we can talk about next week for the Avs a little too. Monday game, Wednesday, Friday at home. That'll be nice. Winnipeg on Wednesday. I'll be in attendance for both.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It'll be fun. Not a cupcake schedule. Minnesota and Winnipeg, we'll see. Those could be hard, and those could be.
They should go 3-0 this week, just for.
I would
sanity.
hope that they would go 3-0 against the Jets without Landeskog, though. Who's going to score the hat trick?
True.
Like
Nico.
That's the thing. The Jets saw that Landeskog was going to be out, and they're just like, whew.
Yeah.
All right, we have a chance.
2 Hatties against them last year. That was hilarious.
Yeah. He had 2 Hatties, and then he didn't play the other 2 games.
Right. Man.
He could have had 4 Hatties.
He's an animal.
He really is.
Love my captain.
We'll see how the Minnesota game goes tomorrow. I'm really kind of like, I truly have no idea how that game goes.
I'm a little worried. Minnesota's.
Yeah, the Avs have never been good in Minnesota.
Never. And Minnesota's going to be like a little angry, I would imagine.
This is their 3rd home game in a row.
0-2, yeah. So
fans aren't going to be happy either. So, and that is maybe something that could play in the Avs' favor if they jump out to an early lead. Maybe the fans start getting restless, but I don't know. But obviously Seattle on Friday.
Yeah, I think you got to get the 2 at home this week just to like.
The 2 teams you're playing are not as good as you, and it's still the beginning of the season, so I'm not going to be, you know, but you should win those games.
Yeah, I'm looking for the defense to kind of.
Yeah, we'll see when we get our first cake snack of the year.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So, if I have a hot take here, I think instead of Cale being the first defenseman to score a goal for the Avs, I think it's going to be EJ.
It was Bleau.
No, like the next one.
Oh, the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just misspoke.
I mean, dude, EJ's been like vibing in the ozone so far. It's been kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Minnesota just feels like a team that I feel like I just kind of have I can see him scoring against the Jets and the Wild. I feel like that's.
Cale destroys Minnesota every time they play.
That's true. Cale's always kind of dunked on Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Nate. Hopefully Nate doesn't fight Matt Dumba this time.
Oh,
and if he does, like punch him in the squishy parts.
Right, the squishy parts, or just like ragdoll him like he did to Christian Fisher.
Like he does to like
instead of
else.
Punching. Yeah.
So yeah,
man.
Well, all right. Well, that'll do it for us. Hopefully, we'll have a bit more league-wide stuff to talk about next podcast, and we'll come at you tomorrow for a post-game podcast after hopefully the Avs' second W of the season. But we shall see. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you later.